impact hits you like a wave, a fresh new spin on the news you crave. Turn the page and you see the light, a different angle that feels so right. No more waiting for the truth to show. Every story starts to glow. Daily news in a way you didn't know. It's the Taz effect that steals the show. Open your mind, let the colors flow. Daily news in a way you didn't know.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Ooh, sorry, a little stuffy today. Thank you for joining me here for the Taz Effect Daily News in a way you didn't know you could use. For those listening in over the radio airwaves at gcpr.live, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those watching and listening from all around the social media sphere, hey, how you doing? How your mom and them doing? It is Thursday. It is Think About It Thursdays, and we have a lot to think about tonight because, it's a rock'em sock'em day. Whiskey Leaks Hexeth is on Capitol Hill, still begging for money and being an asshole and spewing out more conspiracy theory driven talking points than a little bit. If y'all ever doubted white privilege existed, go take a look at that. Because only somebody dripping in white privilege would think that they could take talking points, be an ass, and be completely unprofessional and ask for $1 trillion for an unnecessary war. Excuse me. Whew. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, I told you it's a bad allergy day. Ed. Hey, Annabelle. Thank you, Annabelle. Love your oodles. Now, let's talk about the big ass elephant in the room. We're going to try to get through this as much as possible. Well, the Supreme Court's conservatives just issued the worst ruling in a century. The evisceration of the Voting Rights Act requires us to take SCOTUS reform more seriously. Before we get into this, I said this years ago. We were just coming out of COVID-19 lockdown, and I said this on my OG TikTok account, okay? Supreme Court justices can be impeached. Supreme Court justices can be impeached. Supreme Court justices can be impeached. I need y'all to stop sitting around complaining and moping, going, it's a lifetime appointment. It should no longer be a lifetime appointment. Learn the order of operations of things. You talk about on the surface checks and balances, and then y'all act like y'all don't understand what checks and balances are. Checks and balances means that on paper, it can say lifetime. It can say 4 years. It can say 10-year term. That does not mean that that's what it is. You can sign an employment contract right now that says that they want you in their employment for 10 years. If you screw up enough, guess what they will do? Rip that contract up and you will be unemployed. You see it all the time in sports. Why do you think it does not take place in the people that we literally pay to be in the service of us? Huh? What? What you say now? Huh? Hey, DJ. Some of y'all get crisscross over here quick. I love y'all. For those that don't understand, I am a foundational educator for a wonderful, wonderful deconstructing organization called Eager. So a lot of times I will go live with one of their founders. And sometimes it's right up to the minute that I have to start over here. So I always assume people will be late, or since they saw me there, they won't make it over here, which is fine. Hey, you saw me one time, you listened to, something I had to say. So much love, much, much, much love. especially since I don't usually advertise because a lot of times we don't set a time for it. So, kink y'all. Y'all's the bestest. Oh, and quick caveat. I was going to apologize for yesterday, but I wasn't at fault. Like I said, I give the people what they want. Somebody wanted the spotlight, and I did. And I stood up for myself in a humorous manner. Now, there are a few people that were like, that wasn't very professional of you. When is self-defense professional? And if you don't get down with and agree with how I defended myself, that's fine. That's cool. You are entitled to do that. That is your prerogative. And it is my prerogative not to give a damn. Take that how you want to take it. Now let's get into this story. Wednesday's 6-3 party line decision in Louisiana v. Calais will go down in history as one of the most pernicious and damaging Supreme Court decisions of the last century. All 6 Republican-appointed justices on the court signed on to Justice Samuel Alito's opinion, gutting what remained of the Voting Rights Act protections for minority voters while pretending that they were merely making technical tweaks to the act. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize what was wrong with that statement and what was the starting point of what was wrong with what happened. Okay. Hear me out. They called it a party line decision, and that's what it was. Why is that a problem? They're judges. We can call them justices, chief justices, associate justices, junior justices. A justice is a judge. They're not supposed to be partisan. Yes, they have the ability to vote, register how they want, but in their official capacity, they are to be nonpartisan. They are to be about the law and the Constitution, not about politics. The legal system is not to be about politics, not to be. Okay. Number one. Number two, it should not matter, and in a multitude of cases, it has not mattered who appointed who to the judge, to the bench. I'm sorry, to the judgeship. There are people who spent their entire lives, incredible amounts of money to get to where they were, to whether they become a federal judge, a local Supreme Court, or federal Supreme Court justice. Okay, so it didn't matter. Like, there are people that we look at as far as civil rights and the Supreme Court, who they were appointed by. You would be shocked because you're like, oh, they don't align with them. They're not supposed to. A president, especially when we were talking about SCOTUS, is supposed to nominate the most qualified individuals, not who has the biggest name in regards to their political party. That's where the problem lies. And because this was obviously and blatantly partisan, let's start impeachments. Now, like I said, I've been saying this since right after we got out of COVID-19 lockdown. Why? Because we have too many justices on the Supreme Court that have been sitting there but have impeachable offenses. Let's start with Clarence Thomas. And you're like, but we just found out about his stuff. Nope. The fact that he lied regarding a sex scandal meant that he should have never been confirmed. And the moment that he was confirmed and we found out other things, that is impeachable. He lied under oath multiple times, impeachable offense. And going down through Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett admitted that through her religious practices, her spirituality, she has a quote unquote spiritual guide as a woman in that religion that she has to tell everything to and get advice on. You cannot be a judge and do that. You cannot sit on a bench and take court documents and give it to a non-appointed person for them to tell you what you're supposed to do. Did y'all miss that during her confirmation? Because I didn't. I didn't. Hey, Medusa. Hey, Seth. Hey, Berto. So this again, yes, And this is why I also keep telling you all, stop blaming the entirety of the Supreme Court for these decisions, because it is not fair for the ones standing 10 toes down for the people, which is their job. It is not fair for the ones that are upholding the Constitution, which is their job. It is not fair for the women who are making sure things are properly documented and archived. They are giving you all on a silver platter the exact case you need to impeach the men who are breaking the law and not fulfilling the proper scope of their office. So you all need to start calling out the wayward justices by name. Stop saying all of them. You all scream each and every day, on and offline. We're not a monolith. This isn't a monolith. So why do you keep making certain entities monolithic? You may think that I'm nitpicking, but especially in this day and age, we need to nitpick. We need to nitpick. We need to make sure history chronicles this properly. You're frustrated today because the way hey Illinois, we're in Illinois too. The way you get frustrated because people weren't properly educated up until now, because history wasn't properly chronicled. You're sitting here saying, well, history is written by the victor. History is written by who's willing to write it properly. Let me say that for you again. History is written by who's willing to write it properly, and it's taught by who's willing to tell the truth at whatever cost. So write the history, call it out, and make sure it's chronicled the right way. This is your time. We are living through this history. It is your time to make sure that it's not redacted and whitewashed in real time, because we've sat back and watched them try to sell us a bold-faced lie regarding January 6th. Why do you want them to do that when it comes to SCOTUS? Why do you want them to do that when it comes to this administration? And I also want to tell y'all something. In the United States, you can lie to yourself and claim that, oh, I'm not a minority. Yes, you are. There are far more of us categorized as minorities in this country than are categorized as a part of the majority. They have intersectioned everybody except for presumably straight or straight presenting, Christian presenting, specifically Protestant Christian presenting, cisgendered white men. Everybody else, I need you to understand, as defined by legislation, and depending on who is interpreting the Constitution, everybody else is considered a minority. So while you're sitting here thinking that, oh, the voting rights bill was just a black thing, you are part of that minority. Y'all still won't get it. You still will not learn. And white women, I need to talk to y'all for a minute. Come to the front. I told y'all this before. Maybe this time it will sink in. I need y'all to understand something. When I say we are far beyond time for another constitutional Congress, because we should have stuck to the every 20 years coming together to make sure that the Constitution evolves with our society, so that we don't have to keep leaving things into the interpretation of whoever makes it onto the benches that populate SCOTUS. You all do realize that you all are the only ones walking in this country that has not been explicitly named in the Constitution as human? While you're sitting here putting the battery in the back of these white men, you are the biggest minority and the biggest one with a target on you, because they hate you the most. They, even when they originally wrote the Constitution, they did not explicitly make you autonomous and human. They still left you as their property. Hey, Vix. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. While you're at the, oh, well, they don't need that. Remember the fight on the pathway for equity for the formerly enslaved and their descendants brought everybody else along the way. The suffragettes achieved voting rights for women, first with white women, because let's face it, all women were not provided the right to vote at one time. Because white women still wanted to reign supreme and still have some sort of ownership over other women, just like a lot of them still do want to for today. But we can leave that conversation for another day. And you got that because of Black liberation movements. See, Black people and Black movements have always been inclusive. You decide to point the finger and look exclusively at Blackness and go minority, minority, minority. You forget that your boobs and vagina make you a minority also. Your makeup and dresses and heels make you a minority also. And I'm not just saying that as far as gender identity. You being a part of LGBTQIA plus makes you a minority. You having elevated levels of melanin in your skin makes you a minority. You not fitting into the conservative faux traditional box that they want you to be put into, because they want to put you on display for the shopping mall that is the United States so that they can sell BS to other people for the sake of their profitability, makes you a minority. What they did is going to touch and affect everyone except for rich white men who are willing to pretend to be straight and Christian. I'm going to give you a Cliff Notes history lesson. Every time any nation has decided to specifically target Black people, the greatest amount of hurt was not to Black people. It did negatively affect the whole of society. You know how you sit around and you complain rightfully about the prices of going to an amusement park, how outrageous it is, and how crowded they all are, and how there are so few. You do realize what you know today as an amusement park used to be your county parks. Free of charge for you to go and chill and hang out with the family, but they didn't want the Negroes there. You used to not be able to throw a stone without hitting a public pool, a recreation center, an armory where the kids could go and play. Not anymore, because they didn't want to share it with Negroes. We were firmly on our way to universal health care because there used to be little clinics and doctors' offices everywhere that were free, reduced, or, on the barter system, but not anymore. Because why? They didn't want to share it with the Negroes. Used to be able to go to Sears and Roebuck, peruse the parameters of the aisle, and get you a little house kit. Build onto that house kit as your family expanded. Why they didn't want to share it with the Negroes? Who did it hurt the most? Not the Negroes, because we just created our own. Society decreases itself and begins to eat itself when you try to target Black people because you forget the lies that you've told to get us here. You lied to Black folks about the GI Bill to get them to join your wars so that you could win. You did not allow, in large numbers, there's outliers to everything, Black people to be able to properly and fully benefit from the GI Bills. But then you wanted to invoke legislation that chips away to it. And still to this day, taking away funding from veterans, forgetting the hue of the veterans and the gender of the veterans you're hurting the most. And you're going to keep doing it. You wanted to get rid of affirmative action. Now you get white women and certain white men, especially those just now freshly entering the workforce, kicking and punching the air because they forgot they were the minorities that were benefiting the most from affirmative action. You're getting rid of DEIA, forgetting who needs those benefits the most. You're attacking EBT because you forgot your card gets loaded every month. You out here voting against it, then you crying but you can't afford to eat anymore. Hey, Nana J. Because you bought into the lies that you've told in order to perpetuate your racism, forgetting that your racism hurts you the most. Science says there's no intelligence behind racism, and racism actually makes you more fearful and more stupid. And you tell a lie so much that you believe it, you take it as reality, that even when you're drowning in the tsunami of your own racism, you still want to find a way to blame the Black people. Just like we Black women tried to warn you when what was supposed to be the forever talking point of the Republican conservative movement, abortion, because that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an eternal talking point. That the issue and question about autonomy, and it was a backdoor way of chipping away at HIPAA. Y'all didn't want to believe us. We kept telling y'all, you need to go have honest conversations with your mothers and your grandmothers. And some of y'all need to finally crack open a 23andMe DNA test. Because you'll find out that some of the people that you revered so much in your life that truly have been there for you don't share any DNA with you. They're the second wife, the second husband, the whatever. Because I don't think enough of y'all realize, especially white-bodied women, how many times the men made decisions for you and your kindred that cost you your lives for the sake of appearance, or they needed to use you for their own profit and gain. But you didn't want to listen. What do you think is going to happen now? Did y'all forget all of the rhetoric that they have been pushing, and they've even gotten white-bodied women to spew while these white-bodied women are politicians saying that things were better when women didn't vote, especially white women? Because it's mostly white men saying that there should be one vote for the household, and if there's no man in the household, there shouldn't be a vote. What do you think is going to be on the chopping block first? I know people are scrambling and talking about how this will affect Black people and Latinos and Hispanic people and Asian people. Baby, they're not looking for us. We're already disenfranchised. They know that we will adapt and adjust. We are not who they want to control. Racist white folks, we know they hate the rest of us, but we lose sight of the fact that they hate each other more than anything. The racial hierarchy was never created for a race to sit on top of it. It was created for a single person to sit on top of it. That rugged individualism doesn't stop at the hierarchy. Did you think if they eliminated the rest of us, they'll be like, yeah, we're number one? No, they will eat each other alive to sit on top of that hierarchy. They will revert back to eliminating people from underneath the umbrella of whiteness. These are people that only decided certain folks could be white because they needed the numbers, because they created the rule that you could not add to whiteness, you can only take away from it. They created the one drop rule. So they had to keep adding folks they didn't want to the umbrella of whiteness to make sure it kept a covering over them. But at the end of the day, that hierarchy is not set up for one race of people to sit on top of it. It's set up for one person to sit on top of it. When they are talking about the top 1%, they're not talking about a collection of people. They're talking about singularly themselves. Why do you think racist white people are so willing to pass legislation that won't even help the family member that shares a bed with them, that sleeps down the hall from them? They don't care. They are now waging war on disabled people, saying, hey, we're going to cut your benefits if you still benefit from your family, if you live with your family. There's already rules and regulations about how much you can make and how much income can you have. So without family help, these people, certain people will die. And these are the people who are taking care of disabled children, disabled siblings, disabled parents, and they're like everybody. Everybody is so focused on, oh, black, 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 black. Leave us out of it. Leave us out of it. We were never the target. We were never the. Why are you targeting somebody that you're already standing on for you to line up iron sights? We ain't the target. You don't have to go through all of this and change legislation to mess with us, to continue to disenfranchise us, to blockbuster, gerrymander, and redline us. You don't need it. The infrastructure is already set up. It's cemented into the foundational systems of this country. Racism is what, say it with me, class, systemic, systematic. It's ingrained. You don't need legislation in order to make the downtrodden remain downtrodden. This ain't for us. This is for you, white women. This is for you, white LGBTQIA people. This is for you, white passing two-spirit individuals. This is for you. The legislation is for you. The legislation is to remind you you ain't shit. The legislation is to remove you from the umbrella of whiteness. Do y'all know the story of the one infamous white slave? It goes back to the one drop rule. Because white people was raping the enslaved so much that there was a young girl that phenotypically and complexion-wise was white. But she was still enslaved. She was a chattel slave. To tug on the heartstrings of white people, they're like, you know what? We're going to parade her all over everywhere. We're going to show people, you know what? Chattel slave, this wrong. We got to stop it. We can stop it if we use her. Do you know the amount of white people that was like, I don't care. I don't care. And they were moving to make legislation to make sure she and others could remain enslaved. The legislation has nothing to do with melanated bodies. They already got a system. Just like when they decided to gerrymander maps by legislation, and we're going to redraw the maps. I sat back. If you notice, I told y'all need to chill. That ain't about us. It's not about disenfranchising us. We're already disenfranchised. We adapt. We've had no choice but to adapt. We were literally kidnapped in the dead of night and forced into labor on lands that we had to learn in the blink of an eye. We got this. It's blueprint written in our DNA at this point. We have been genetically modified for the sake of survival. Okay? Huh? Go with me, all right? If you need to legislate something, and as hard as they're fighting to do it, baby, that ain't about black bodies. That's about white men. Because this is why in certain jurisdictions, it is still on the books. They call them antiquated laws, but they ain't changed them and they know that they still remain. You can still take a person, your spouse, to the courthouse steps and beat the bricks off of them and receive no repercussions. Those laws weren't about marginalized people. That's not about melanated people, because they was going to let us beat each other to a pulp. They will let us kill each other. That was about white men being able to obfuscate accountability and get their rocks off by being cruel to their white wives. Let me say it for y'all again. As much as a white person hates the melanated, they hate each other even more. They didn't come to this country because they wanted to spread the goodness. They wanted to come to this country because they were pissed off and jealous that, one, they couldn't be as tyrannical and savage as they wanted to be where they came from, and two, these were the people who were the jealous siblings, like, oh, I know that they practiced and worked hard and did good in school, but I feel like I should have more than them because I'm taller, or my hair is browner, or my chest is bigger, or insert here. So they came over here and they created systems in a country where they could be mediocre and they could be great. But in that, they still did not want anybody to be any better than them as an individual. And they still don't like each other. When you have scandals in sports, it's generally white people v. white people, and they are willing to take each other out. Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan. And y'all got behind Nancy Kerrigan like she was the second coming of Sonia Bonalee. And let me explain something to you. She was barely basic. I said it. She was barely basic. But y'all will do any and everything to discredit one another, take one another out the group. We have entire networks devoted to white-bodied individuals not liking white-bodied individuals to the point where they will do anything. Yes, HOA started off with a very racist image and a goal. But now most of the HOA stories are white-on-white crime. White folks trying to take ownership of other white folks. White folks trying to push other white folks out. White folks going to the courts and suing other white. When legislation is invoked and litigation is the route, that ain't about black and brown bodies. That's about y'all, the white bodied. How was her shoulders though? Well, she can only carry one Olympic, so that shoulder length wasn't that tight. I can hear it on the scanner too, of one neighbor calling the cops on the other for weed whacking at 7-8. Yep. Mm-hmm. I want you to remember it was white evangelical nationalists, the uber Christians, uber conservatives, if you will, that were preemptively litigating to make sure they wouldn't have to service certain people. And the people they were using as their made up examples, they weren't black, they weren't brown, they weren't Asian, they were white. Remember I don't want to make a wedding website for blah 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 blah. The examples, white. I don't want to make a wedding cake for blah 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 blah. Their examples in court, white. The scenarios were not real, but their examples was white people. They preemptively didn't want to mess with their own folks. We've had white women get on the internet and admit that they were taught from a young age how to weaponize their tears. We have watched white women on and offline show that they were from birth indoctrinated into the belief that they are the default damsel in distress. I myself have been the victim of that. I have had white women do egregious things to me, and then I'll look at them. I ain't even said nothing yet. Looked at them, and they'll see somebody come up like, oh, they may have seen or heard what I did. And they will so aggressive and soon as they see those tears, because everybody has been indoctrinated that, oh, white woman, she's this damsel. She's the perfect example. What went down yesterday? Between yesterday's show and today, the amount of people who have gone after the folks that have been defending me and telling people, hey, this black woman has been bullied, harassed, and stalked for well over 30 days. And because a white woman jumped in to try to tell what was going on, which she really didn't. People are like, well, I don't care about anything else that happened. This is scummy behavior, that this is the tactic that's being used. And those that were on the TikTok side yesterday, did y'all catch when I asked the question, so it's okay to harass me? And the person answered yes. Person answered yes. And I watched as they quickly made burner accounts to come back in, shared the live to people to come in and harass me. But the amount of people that were like, nope, I cannot defend that black woman, because a white woman has now jumped in and said that the behavior, the words, the actions of people defending and protecting me was wrong. There are people that don't want to hear anything else. They don't want to hear nothing else. So once again, when it comes to litigation, when it comes to legislation, this ain't about us. Is what the Supreme Court did. Well, the conservative justices on the Supreme Court, what they did, egregious, yes. But baby, that ain't got nothing to do with us. 92% sat down. 87% sat down. White people, this is your opportunity to prove the narrative you all have been selling us for generations and what your ancestors have sold us. What do I mean by that? Historically, y'all keep saying, and when I say y'all, because far too many of y'all don't speak up to correct it in real time today. So here's your opportunity, okay? That we wouldn't know civilization. We wouldn't have so many things if it wasn't for y'all. First of all, if you had such a utopia going on, why did you leave it? Because I know I'm good at home. I do not give a damn what you got going on at your house. I don't care how it's decorated. I don't care what you're doing in it. I don't care what you're cooking in it. You hear me? You heard me. You catching what I'm putting down? Okay. So if you're happy at home, how would you know what needs to be fixed in Barbara's home? What you know about Bobby's home over there? But if you all are the curators and the custodians of demure proper society, and you all were the heads and the masterminds of revolutions, where's the televised revolution now? Because all I see is a bunch of white-bodied individuals saying that they don't know how to make change, that they don't know how to get this done, that they don't know how to do this, that at protest, they are just now building community. Miss me with it. Come together, get out of the costume, stop cosplaying, and make a change. Because when it came down to being hateful and egregious, you didn't need any assistance. Hell, y'all didn't even need planning meetings. Y'all just showed up outside the school, had slogans, had signs, and had 10 buckets of spit ready to go. Nobody had to teach you where to find torches, guns, bullets, or ropes, or a tree that can hold weight. You found gas money to run people out of town. People found money to go buy acid to pour it in pools. You find the time to medically maim and castrate Black folks. You find the budget, the time, and the wherewithal to give Black people and brown people all sorts of diseases to experiment on them without their will. So why can't you find it, purveyors of societal norms, the rule setters, the etiquette makers to fix what's going on. Why can't you save yourself? If you're saying that you came and had to save all of us, why can't you save yourself? Why are you always proclaiming to be the saviors that need saving? Huh? What? You cannot have it both ways. You can't. Janet Mills, the Maine governor, dropped out of her U.S. Senate bid. She was supposed to be trying to unseat Republican Susan Collins. Why? Why? You got that right. Way to go. This ain't BK. Why? Why is it every time a white person has a chance, has leverage, can do it, either y'all just give up and quit or y'all sabotage one another? And I am going to say something to y'all. And I need y'all to listen because no, I'm not taking up for anybody. No, I'm not making excuses for anybody. I'm going to need y'all to let your smarter particles work. Okay? Okay? George, thank you. Why did you sit on information regarding Eric Swalwell until he threw his hat in the ring for governor? You all will sit back and allow people to be hurt because your pettiness, your jealousy won't let you properly take people down who are egregious. You have to wait until you hurt them. You want them to try to go for a goal, or you want them to achieve some success, and you want to embarrass them and humble them instead of prosecute them and bring upon them justice. You sit here and say, protect the children, protect the women. This is why we say it's all white women, all white men, until it's none. Now, a Fox anchor by the name of Bill Hemmer cut off Jim Jordan in the middle of his rant regarding James Comey. And he said, and I quote, everything you listed, he's not being charged with. Again, white people, y'all hate each other more than you hate anybody else, and you are willing to cut each other up and cut each other down for the sake of what? It gives nobody forward motion. You sit here and you tell so many lies about black people, pillaging the system. How are we manipulating a system that's set up to work against us every single day? Because if we could get over on the system, if one of us figured it out, you don't think that we would have figured it out to help everybody? Kristi Noem, while DHS secretary, moved into the Coast Guard commandant's residence. She's no longer DHS secretary, right? She ain't moved out. She ain't gonna move out. Trump did all that he did and sat there and watched what he helped orchestrate or orchestrated all on his own regarding the White House Correspondents' Dinner for King Chuck the Cut to come through yesterday and annihilate him regarding how stupid the idea is and how ludicrous the budget is to his face. And Trump is so enamored that the White House called them two kings that he clapped at his own annihilation. Ooh, Annabelle, always bring me a cup of coffee. Federal Appeals Court told Trump, you're out of appeals. Pay E. Jean Carroll $83 million. And keep in mind, that trial was a jury trial. But the biggest farce of all, and I've said this since Trump's first administration, after his second run for the presidency. Yes, because previously, before running on the Republican ticket, Trump ran as an independent. Didn't get very far, but he did. There's so many people are behind the scenes talking. I don't like this. I can't stand him. He's so fucking stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. I know I'm killing you, Small. But they won't say it in public because they can benefit and they don't care about anybody else. But there are a multitude of reports coming out that regarding this latest James Comey indictment, that even Trump's allies are talking shit behind his back. And I'm saying allies very facetiously because Trump doesn't have any allies. He doesn't have any friends. He has people that will use him that he believes that he's using. Because every time we turn around, they have an email, a text message, a video, a voice note, something to save their behinds. Oh, Nightbird, he was trying to take it to the Supreme Court, but unfortunately he can't. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Amy. Have a great and wonderful day. Still wonderful having you. I need you all. I'm not asking you to be a history head the way that I am a history head, but if you are not taking the time to teach yourself history, join a history class. And I'm not just saying this because I teach history. You can choose to join my history class if you like a non-traditional way of learning. But you need to know history because I need y'all to stop looking at things surface level and look at things historically and realistically. You know, on a surface level, that you were not properly educated in the United States. You were intentionally miseducated. Okay. Therefore, they know that you are going to be swarming and postulating regarding race and gender and how this is going to affect it, and you're going to miss the bigger picture. And by the time you figure out who their targets are, we're going to have more women proverbially bleeding out in the parking lot. Because yes, right now, making the news is the egregiousness that Black women and brown women are experiencing when pregnant due to the overturning of the Dobbs decision, aka Roe v. Wade. What's not talked about is the multitude of white women that have bled out in parking lots that are now sterile because they're not going to talk about it. Lauryn Hill was miseducated. She did that. Lauryn Hill still hasn't learned how to tell time. Way to go. If you know, you know. So yeah. Keep in mind, they don't have to litigate or legislate to keep their foot on us. They don't. They don't. You ever question that? Look around right now, specifically on TikTok. Look at how many Black, brown, indigenous creators of color are on account warnings or have recently lost, especially large accounts. Look at what's going on with ICE. There should be a multitude of class action lawsuits right now. If this was any other country, the moment that Trump decided to sue one entity of the United States while sitting in the Oval, the amount of class action lawsuits from the people that would have popped up would have made your head spin. It would have given you whiplash. But we're not doing that here. And it's because far too many people are looking at it like, well, we know he's racist and he's sexist, so it must be the black women that he's going after. It must be the black folks, must be the Negro. No. They don't have to legislate or litigate us. They don't have to. The systems are already in place. When they have to go through the legal channels, they're taking out their own. That woman in Florida who got the governor to intervene, I hate her. Yeah, we all hate her. But yeah, you have to litigate or legislate to target white people. Did y'all forget that? Those are the rules. I didn't make them. I just know them. You can't just walk up. You can't even just hold a white person accountable. You have to litigate or legislate. Y'all forgot the order of operations. First, they were trying to decrease the age of consent for coitus. Then decrease the age that it is legal to marry a minor. Then they moved on to decreasing the age in which minors could work certain schedules and in certain industries. Therefore, they could get a little boy, little girl straight out of high school, get them pumped up with babies and put them in the factories and have them working. And y'all think that it's all about having little worker bees. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn because they have forgotten and compartmentalized themselves out of reality. They literally think that there's two different sides to society, that there is a subset of society that's just consumers and a subset of society that's just workers, as if we aren't all a duality. And then they made it to the point where can't have an abortion, don't have a miscarriage, can't really get proper birth control. You just got to pop them out and take care of them. They don't care about the child abuse that comes along with it or anything else. You don't need a bill to discriminate against the already marginalized. Holy war is a dog whistle. I know some people are about to give me some pushback because they're like, no, Taz, throughout history, it was a dog whistle then too. Walk with me. Walk with me, oh, walk with me. Okay, let's go here. You have to realize those that bastardize Christianity know that they're bastardizing Christianity. Just like megachurch pastors know that they're getting into the pulpit to full on fledged mislead you, to lie to you, to misrepresent things, not misinterpret it, flat out lie. They're banking on you not studying to show thyself approved. Just like people who are always talking about holy wars and resurrections and all this stuff as a control tactic are banking on you not refuting them, either because you don't care, because you don't ascribe to their brand of Christianity, or their chosen deity, or them pretending to have a chosen deity. The whole holy war thing goes back to the original reason why they started bastardizing westernized Christian religion. Giving an excuse for the ownership and mistreatment and degradation of bodies that have heavier amounts of melanin than what they contain. It's a dog whistle because it's never a holy war when it's another white nation that they don't agree with. They're never waging a holy war on somebody who is Casper the Friendly Ghost complected. It's a dog whistle. It's no different than war on crime, law and order. Because how are you waging a holy war against people who believe in the same God as you? At what point would said God be pleased with either side? It's popping, twin. Yeah. I'll tell y'all this again. I tell y'all this quite often. You have all the pieces to the puzzle. You just keep picking up handfuls of the puzzle pieces and taking them to different tables, putting together those pieces and never combining them with the entirety of the puzzle. As you are waging the war that you truly want on the people you hate the most, people who resemble your reflection, but not always your ideologies, hear me out. You have to keep them distracted because a distracted opponent is an easier to defeat opponent. If you keep white people focused on the brownies over there and the darkies over there, they will not pay attention to the fellow white people coming up from back behind them to gut them and walk on their carcasses. Again, white supremacists hate us all. But the vast majority of us are just being used as shields and distraction to take out who they hate the most. And if you don't remember anything else I said, remember that no one needs to litigate or legislate to discriminate against the already marginalized. That's like someone trying to convince you that they need a permission slip for the children that they have full custody of that live in their house for them to be able to take them to McDonald's. Let that sink in. Question: if God is so powerful, why does he need your help so much? Here's the thing. The white, as Thomas would say, then just said hi. She said she hears you back there. As Thomas would say, the white Kenny Loggins Jesus, if you notice, those that bastardize, specifically the Protestant religion, they do act like in modern times they need to be Jesus. He's their savior, but they must save everybody else for the sake of him. At no point have I seen Jesus over on Indeed setting up interviews for his replacement or an interim deity. But if you place yourself as God in their mind, who can question you? Because, their argument is, well, we're all made in his image. We're all one. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. I'm going to get a little preachy real quick. Okay? I'm not going to hold you there too long, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to get a little preachy real quick. Okay? Now, 'tis true that eventually eventually, those that are saved, those that have stayed steadfast upon the second coming will ascend and meet Christ in the air. It will be at that time that you will take your royal placement in the co-reign, reigning together with the ultimate brother that you will ever have. But even then, you will not have a heaven nor hell to put anybody in. You will not be handed pens in your own individual books of life. You will be granted access into the New Jerusalem. But you will not become the savior of man. Because they want to sit there and tell you that they have to do this, that, and the third in the name of Jesus the Christ. And no, they don't. Because if you are going to put yourself on equal standing, then make an equal sacrifice. And the last time I checked, nobody is walking around stomping the yard here on this third rock from the sun that is completely without sin and is willing to know that the day, the moment, the second that death is coming to them and that they will be tortured beforehand for the things that they did not do, and are willing to shoulder the responsibility and the accountability of everybody else's sin and die in order to repay that debt. People nowadays, and since the day that he decided to take on and pay that debt for all of us, have not even wanted to be held accountable for their own mess. But you want to tell me that you were so righteous, so pure, that you were out here doing the Lord's work by being tyrannical? Huh? What? Y'all up in the church house gambling. What did y'all think bingo was? Doing what? Jesus himself went into the tabernacle and moved all the furniture and flipped it all over and told you not to defile his father's house again, but you keep doing it time and time again. And not only do you continuously defile his father's house, you keep trying to defile and disrespect his father's children, his siblings, but you're not ready to hear me. These are the same people that look at anything that could have a tinge of accountability on it and want to call it demonic, a demon, the devil, and that the devil is alive, the devil is chasing them. Baby, no, you are just trying to escape from Alcatraz, and that Alcatraz is accountability. But go off with your not so bad self. You want to condemn everyone and everything except for the sin that you choose to live in. But out here pointing fingers at your religious brethren because they choose to worship in a different language. They chose not to translate out of the original text to avoid losing things in translation, to avoid discrepancies and misunderstandings. But okay. You're upset because they choose to stand behind the practice of continuing to cover their heads in worship and prayer, and you decided to move past it because you decided that was not a part of the modesty for your branch of Abraham's cloak. But okay. While y'all are out here playing the Sin Olympics, let me repeat that. While y'all are out here playing the Sin Olympics, please show me where Jesus gave a damn about your sin or quantified it by levels, because he sat down, broke bread, and extended grace and forgiveness to everyone. But you constantly are scraping and scrounging for grace and forgiveness, while unable to give any, because you have decided everything has a point system. Everything has a hierarchy. Let me explain something to you. If everything has a hierarchy and everything has a point system, none of us have enough points to be on the first step of it. I have anxiety over a doctor's appointment. I don't need to know. Oh, sweetheart, we're not talking about that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. And don't be anxious. Do not be anxious. Do not be weary, although I do understand. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Because we love you to additional life, and we uphold you to eternal life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, 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 Annabelle. No, 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 no. You got this. You better go in that doctor's office and shake a little tail feather. Ask the doctor if you can see their ankles. I'm kidding. Just a little bit. Maybe. How cool is your doctor? Maybe they will show you your ankles. Tell them shoulders do it for you. Ask them to pop a shoulder out for you. Maybe. Just a little bit. Depends. But if you do it, tell them I said it. You know, I was doing so good behaving earlier, and then here we are. I'm going to give you all a really, really, really short update. Oh, I was saying for the people who are acting as if they are Christ. Patch of dry skin that I knew you couldn't make it through a whole. I forgot you were watching. I made it through a good chunk of the day, sir, and I feel your judgment. And I don't feel like you should be judging me, okay? Because have you behaved today? No, no, you haven't. Okay, thank you. No, none of us need to know that. That's putting the miss and misbehave is hardly innocent, but I'm putting the miss and misbehave. Are you both to be in time? I didn't even do nothing then. I didn't do nothing too bad. I didn't. You coming in here to tell on me, ain't you? You smooth came in here to tell on. It's messed up. Hey. Okay, if I give you some belly rubs, will you not snitch? Will you at least think about it? Will you consider it? Thank you. Okay, at least you consider it. All right. You looking at me at least. All right, that's cool. That's what happened. First of all, I think I earned the right to misbehave because I found out that a very creepy individual seems to have a very unhealthy, unnatural crush on me. Nana J says she's gonna send you some treat. She came running right back in here soon as and dry said, as soon as I said Nana J, y'all hear her tiptoe back. She came back with the quickness. Nana J should say she's gonna send you some treat. Look at that tail just going. Okay, so do you think we'll work on it throughout the weekend? You will let me take some pictures and maybe a few videos of you for Nana J, pretty please. Okay, because I know you be like, no pictures, no pictures. Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Yeah, ouch. You know you can't mess with Harley Netta J. I know she gonna get me. Jesus Christ. Okay. Now I do have a brief update for something before we get into more of the think about it Thursdays. Haha, Philip has a crush on you. And this is why people don't understand our relationship. Squishy. Um, Not you roasting me. Your significant other. Regarding a creepy person who has a creepy crush on me. Tell my ha, Philip has a crush on you. I found out he's got a crush on me. It's not cool. But real quick, serious update. I'm not going to go into detail on this update, and I know I have not touched on this story very much because I have to work through some very strong feelings and emotions regarding this case so that I can be unbiased in reporting on it and truly fight the urge to say certain stuff so I can just get you all accurate information, because I know there will be a point where the case will be over and I can just unleash on this person. But when it comes to court cases and stuff, I do my best to try to keep my emotions out of it so I can just bring you all what's going on so you know the evidence, the facts of the case, okay? So, singer David. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Going to be discussing murder. I'm going to keep this to less than 5 minutes. So if you need to step away, set a timer for 5 minutes and come back, okay? Trigger warning. Discussing murder. I'm going to keep this to 5 minutes or less. Set a timer for 5 minutes and come back, okay? Hey, Tiny. Okay. The singer David dismembered Celeste Rivas, 14 years old at the time of her death, with a chainsaw after he stabbed her to death. Remember, he then put her in the trunk of his Tesla and does the company Tesla have anything to do with this? I don't know. As of yet, just don't like them, so I'm going to keep saying it so that people will associate Tesla with this and maybe they'll stop buying Teslas. I don't know. Where she began to decompose and her body was discovered while he was out on tour after he had parked said vehicle in is it long-term parking at the airport. That poor baby suffered. But on top of that, it is not as easy as TV shows and the movies make it out to be to dismember a person, especially with a chainsaw. There's a difference between minding your own business and technically becoming an accessory after the fact. Because how in the hell, in certain areas, are you listening to a chainsaw? And too many of y'all are the uber nosy neighbors. So y'all saw this young lady walk into wherever they were and never walk out. And dismemberment is quite messy. that we are going to leave there. Like I said, I will give updates. I will get into more in-depth breakdowns on everything once I get my emotions regarding this in check. Harley is innocent with that cute bow of her. Oh my. I'm just a Rodney Dangerfield up in this house, huh? Okay. Now, I briefly discussed this earlier, but this is the Think About It part of our Thursday. The Trump administration aims to penalize disabled adults who live with their families. Even at a glance, Shatira Burton's life reveals her need for the sort of federal government assistance that helps disabled Americans stay in their homes. Born 2 months prematurely into a poor family in Philadelphia, unable to breathe or swallow without tubes, and largely confined to medical facilities until age 4, Burton was diagnosed with a litany of developmental and intellectual disabilities that left her with an IQ below 70. I know people are going to be like, oh, this is a clear cut of a black and white issue because societally, socially, culturally, who is more likely to take care of disabled family members and friends? And I saw a video yesterday or the day before on TikTok where a young lady said, in a black household, you can have whatever disability you want. Nobody cares. You're going to be treated like every other child. And that's true. And somebody in the comment section was like, yeah, because we're inclusive. If all the kids swimming, you swimming. Be like, oh, such and such is in a wheelchair. Okay, Uncle such and such is gonna be in the pool with her. Auntie such and such. You're gonna go out there. You're gonna do this. You're gonna learn how to cook. You're gonna be out there playing with all the kids. It don't matter. And there were also people in the comment section going, you know what? I didn't know I had blah 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 ailment. I was just taught I was gonna have to do things different than these people. Blah 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 blah. But here's the thing: there are white people who will, on the surface, take care of their family members because they want additional income. They will get the additional income, but they won't use it towards that person. And there are white people of means that will hire a staff to take care of them. Okay? Because there are certain things they want to keep in the family for certain periods of time. But moreover, this will target poor people. And this will push more people into certain facilities. And I know people are looking at things like, oh, well, these facilities and the people associated with these facilities through investments, whatever, they will make more money. That is also true, but I think you all are missing a major subset of our society. You all are forgetting how many sociopaths live among us. And how many people work every day to protect said sociopaths. And part of that protection is giving them a place to live out their deepest, darkest, sickest fantasies. I know you don't want to hear where we're going with this, but you're going to have to. Now, someone who had a family member through disabilities from birth and then through extreme abuse by the hands of multiple people, never lived a life outside of a facility. And even in said facility was essentially in solitude. Now, they did not receive the abuse that other people did because other people, they had regular visitors. We were regularly there. They really did not know when any of us were going to pop up. There's so many of us that they didn't know if it was one of us coming, 10 of us coming. You couldn't go, oh, well, somebody was here at 8 o'clock in the morning. They won't be back today. You didn't know. Okay. You might get 20 of us in one day throughout the day. You never know. But I did notice and witness and report multiple people being abused and the look in folks' faces because they're vulnerable. There's a woman right now on the internet because she was lied to. Somebody did some digging and found out that the police were taking her case seriously, but they were hoping that she would give up and they could just let the case die down. But she went in for a procedure with a plastic surgeon, and she was assaulted while under anesthesia. Before you go, well, how would she know? She felt off. Her body felt off afterwards, and not like, oh, after the procedure off. She's a lesbian. She immediately went to a hospital, and her rape kit popped positive. She had bruising, she had semen, all of these things. And there are so many people right now protecting the psychopath, protecting the victimizer. The most vulnerable amongst us are the least listened to. We have to stop saying that people aren't believing victims. People believe victims. They know that the victims are telling the truth. Let me say that again. People believe the victims. They know the victims are telling the truth. They just need the victims to shut up and keep taking it so that they won't become a victim again. There are people who get bit once by the alligator and decide they would rather feed everybody else to the alligator by any means necessary instead of just killing the alligator or getting away or sending the alligator into the wetlands and not going back to the wetlands. I agree, Tiny. It's about power, it's about control. And it's more than just power and control, because I know we say that abuse, and especially intimate abuse, is all about power and control, but it's more than that. There are some people who do get gratification from that, and we have to acknowledge that. And there are some people who their only knowledge, their only education about romantic relationships or gender based relationships is all about physical, sexual intimacy. There are a lot of people who only view intimacy as sex. They don't understand the concept of physical intimacy that has nothing to do with penetration. They don't understand spatial intimacy. They don't understand conversational intimacy. They don't get it. And this is why so many people view things as being fruity, zesty, or a sign of cheating or being down low. No, because you have to think how most people are taught about relationships. So there are people who will sexually assault someone because they're like, oh, I just need to get her out of my system. I just need to get him out of my system. When were they ever in there? Think of the adage, you have to leave something to the imagination. Why are we okay with people imagining assaulting us? Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're letting someone use their imagination to assault you. Why is that okay? And why do you need to sit and daydream about how you think I look with no clothes on? And why is that? Why is that the starting point of your intimacy? I know for so many years there were people that would look at me crazy and have jokes for a multitude of people that I have dated over the years, because I am a firm believer that just because we date does not mean that we have to have sex. And yes, I've had multiple relationships where we have been intimate, we have not had sex. And I know some people are like, oh, well, they did this type of sex. No, intimacy does not equate to sex. There are a lot of y'all that have had sex with a multitude of people who, and you have never been intimate with anyone. Because I remember once there was a young man that thought that it was okay to publicly make fun of me. I'd gotten cheated on. And his joke was, huh, 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 huh. This person's seen you naked. They've seen you naked. Huh, huh, huh. No, they didn't. And I told him, I said, we never did that. And I was like, and if that was a requirement of theirs, they could have told me instead of cheating. It's as simple as that. But the fact that so many people's minds go there, when people are like, oh, they look at somebody physically, oh, you're going to be a heartbreaker, because they're looking at every part of somebody's body as sexual, as explicit. Like, even with the disrespect that Clay Thomas handed Meg the Stallion, so many people are like, well, why would you cheat on her? Look at how she looks. I know that's got to be that good. What? And people think that the way to get into a relationship is talking about their sexual proclivities, how good somebody else thought that they were. That's that's what buddy ranches are for. Sex is a dime a dozen. Me being comfortable with you being my emergency contact is rare. Being able to be vulnerable with someone is rare. That's precious. Being able to lay your head down at night and rest, not just sleep, rest, is precious and intimate. Knowing that no matter what, whether y'all agree today, disagree, got hurt feelings, happy feelings, indifferent feelings, angry feelings, that at the end of the day, somebody chooses to still love you and chooses to respect you. That's intimate. But we have to stop with, oh, it's just about power and dominance. No, there are people who they get off on it. That's why there's a whole porn category to it. And if we keep diminishing things down, trying to super simplify it, we cannot eradicate it. And that also means being honest. A lot of y'all are wondering why you have yet to have a successful relationship. How do you define intimacy? What do you define as a relationship? Do you consider somebody your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, your partner, because y'all are having sex? Do you find yourself using terms like friends with benefits or in the friend zone? Because whether you're grown or not, as long as everybody's within the proper age range and you're doing things consensually, why is it a friend with a benefit? Doesn't friendship itself is a benefit? You're just having coitus without a romantic relationship. And stop saying in the friend zone. There's no zone for friends. Either you are a friend or not. Because if you're on a waiting list, sweetheart, you're just on the coitus reservation list. Well, waiting list, I should say. That's it. That's all. Just say what it is. Just say what it is. But you have to define these things. And also, if you define sex as intimacy, I want you to also think about this, because the vast majority of people who think about sex as being the equivalent to intimacy aren't the ones that show any intimacy or romance after sex is done. And everything during the commission of sex is pretty manipulative. You will give so that you can receive. Not because you're trying to connect, not because you're trying to create a space for the two of you to quote unquote become one. Because no sooner than you, oh, O'Reilly, water sports, the two of you, hopefully, you have no aftercare. That's how you end up as unwilling co-parents that didn't even know each other's last name till it came time to sign the birth certificate. But you're not taught that. Just like a lot of y'all are pissed off or butt hurt or brokenhearted, or you claim that you have abandonment issues because you took what should have been a friendship and thought that it was supposed to be a romantic relationship, because when you think back on it, nobody has ever been properly explained what a romantic relationship is. If you enjoy spending time with somebody, everybody around you goes, "Oh, yeah, I knew y'all had a crush on one another. Oh, that's your little boyfriend. Oh, that's your little girlfriend." Don't you enjoy being around your friends? Don't you enjoy having things in common with your siblings, your cousins? No one teaches you. So you make mistakes because you quantify things incorrectly. And this is why it's easier to just say sex is intimacy, because you don't know anything else. And that's why when someone cheats, especially during the sexual variety of cheating, it hurts so much for one person. But the person who has evolved to realize that sex is not intimate, that's why they're like, well, it's just sex, it didn't mean anything, and you're having a do not compute. Now, do not take that the wrong way and think that I am condoning cheating. I am not. I'm putting things in perspective for you. Just like I think it's funny when people say that certain relationships are inappropriate. Like when some people find out like how close certain people are with their best friends, etc. And I'm like, yeah, because y'all will meet somebody, have two or three conversations, be like, yeah, that's my bestie. No, it's not. Okay, your bestie done seen you naked. Okay, you done spread your booty cheeks for your bestie because you like, girls, that an ingrown hair dude is like, what's back there? Like, and people are like, oh, that's inappropriate. No, it's not, because your best friend is supposed to be the person that you can, outside of your spouse or intimate or romantic partner, that you can trust the most, and outside of a parent, hopefully if you have a good decent parent that you can trust, and you know you can be vulnerable with any and everything, and that is protected. That when you are terrified to talk to anybody else about something or show anybody else, you can go to your friend. Well, once again, none of us are taught these things. The only thing that we're taught through and through is stranger danger, which is confusing. Because what is a friend or romantic partner, or hell, even some most of your family members, before you give them that label, a stranger? And it's because nobody wants to admit that we don't know how to do it. Everybody's out here doing these how to manipulate somebody to be close to you. What do I mean by that? All these self-help books, how to be in a good marriage, how to communicate with people, talk to people. There's no cookie cutter way of doing anything. But before you start talking to people, figure out who the hell you are. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but figure out who the hell you are. And figuring out who you are and what you like and what you don't like does not mean going out trying to make other people fit the mold that is you. You find where you fit in with other people and figure out who you fit in with the most. And generally, it's someone that brings you, or a collection of people that bring you balance. I had someone earlier today ask me, because they were like, hey, I don't understand your friends, your relationship. Like, looking at people and look like y'all don't seem to go together. I say, yes, we do. Yes, we do. I need you to think about my relationships, my friends, my partner, my family as a candy store. Okay. You may have one favorite candy, and in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, it'd be so great if I walked in this store and it was just my favorite candy. No, it wouldn't, because it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience. You wouldn't really continue to appreciate your favorite candy if that's all you smelled, if that's the only wrapper you saw, it's the only thing that you could ever try. My circle is a cornucopia of different people, because that way we can sharpen each other. We can grow together and from each other. I can water them, they can water me. My little scoop of fertilizer is going to be different than theirs, but we can all put it on that soil and we can all get the nutrients that we need. I don't need everybody to be like me. We don't all have to have the same hobbies. We don't all have to look the same. But I can guarantee you one thing: talk to any of us, and you'll see why we're friends, why we're family. And that's what matters the most. That's what matters the most. Hey, Miss Lyles, why you're not late? And I know for the vast majority of people, this ain't what you thought about. When you don't think about things like this is when you can start to feel as if you're the odd man out, that you no longer deserve to be here, that you shouldn't be on the census, that nobody would miss you, because life gets hard, life gets painful physically, emotionally, and everything else. It can also get frustrating because far too many people, and this isn't a new thing, live their lives as if they're being followed by a camera crew. And they need to beat everybody out for that Oscar. But you have to define things. And you have to define them for yourself. Define for yourself what's masculine, if you are a masculine individual. Masculine. What's feminine for you, if you are a combination of those things. That is what's on an individual level. What is intimacy to you? What is a romantic relationship to you? What is a friendship to you? How do you want your siblings? What is a sibling relationship to you? What is just a basic familial relationship to you? Because everybody tells you what to look for and what are red flags when it comes to romantic relationships, and be on the lookout for this and be on the lookout for that. But nobody's told you or taught you how to look for and at those things for every other type of relationship. And for the love of all things holy, keep in mind that people will lie to you to placate you. Why do I say that? Because far too many of y'all, and you know that you do, don't try to give me no pushback, will be like, oh no, I don't need to change that. You know, my exes used to love that. No, they didn't. And if they did, kudos to them. The person that you're standing in front of is not your ex-friend. It's not your dead mama. It's not your dead daddy. It's not your ex-romantic partner. You got to realize some people don't do better because they don't know better. Some people grew up in abusive situations. So they didn't recognize the abuse that you're carrying around as abuse. So yeah, they were willing to take it. Somebody who wasn't raised around that, it can see that that's not cool. That's not copacetic. And they tell you the likes of that. Don't push it back. And my biggest rule is don't ask for what you're not willing to give. Do not ask for what you're not willing to give. If you want me to be understanding of you and you're not willing to be understanding of me, no. And also this, I want y'all to really hear what I'm about to say next. I really want y'all to hear and take it in, okay? Take it in. If someone has to adapt and adjust to you, hang it up. If you're not willing to compromise, hang it up, because once that person has adapted and adjusted, that means that they have adapted and adjusted to realizing that with you, they are still a single entity. Whether romantic, platonic, familial, they know that they cannot count on you for anything, but you need them for a lot, and they are willing to still be there to be your support system. See, there's a difference between growing together and compromising to figure out what works best for the both of you all, regardless of the category of relationship. When somebody has to adapt and adjust, they're adapting and adjusting for the sake of your sustainability and their mental health. And what does that look like? That looks like the person that realizes that they may be a wife or a husband, but if they're sick, they can't count on you to pick up the slack. If they're hurting and grieving, they know that they're going to have to console themselves. And that is the worst position for you to be in. Because when they realize that they can adjust themselves to not need you, but you still need them, baby, listen, it's a wrap. It is a wrap. It is a wrap. It is a wrap because they have 25 contingency plans already ready to go. You are now an obligation. You are now a bill, so to speak. They budgeted how much energy and effort is going into you, and you cannot exceed it because the love is no longer there. You are a residual debt. Let me repeat that. You are now a residual debt. Because trust and believe, if that bill comes from your electric company and it says $50, the electric company can't call you after you done paid that $50, be like, hey, we need a little extra help for Barbie, and you think you could shoot another $20? No. Because when a person loves you, when a person respects you, and a person knows that it's mutual, that you all have compromised and grown together in this, they will give you, they won't set a budget on energy, effort, love. Oh, no, 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 no. Even if they don't got it, okay, they, with all their might, they'll suck all the moisture and everything that they can from around them to be able to pour into your cup. But when you become a residual emotional toll for them, that bill, baby, they've set a budget, and that budget is going to be low. And once they've paid that budget, you're not getting anything else. You could look at them every day. You could lay down next to them every night. You still ain't getting more than that budget. I had to make a change for myself with my family, and they got mad at me because I set so many boundaries. So I had to completely cut them off. I feel at peace now. I have no contact with any of them. This is the house, baby. Let me tell you, I feel you. For me, it was a progression. I legitimately sat down and started going over things in my head. Now I'm the type of person, I will sit down and have a conversation with you, whether it's a face-to-face conversation or a handwritten letter. Yes, I'm that person that will write someone a handwritten letter. People are like, oh, well, they have proof. Yes, proof that I cared enough to outline things. And I also like to ask, like, hey, what did I do? How did I contribute to us getting here? And when I started cutting people off, I made a list of who to call and who to meet up with. And I asked each and every one of them, what did I ever do to you? And I said, please be honest with me and please be detailed because I'm trying to make some changes in my life. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, everything that's gone wrong in my life, it's been because of somebody else. Heck no. Heck no. Okay? I make mistakes every single day. I just do my best to try to learn from them. But each of those people, I mean, every single person on that list, it was like a 5-page list when I paused it. I'm not going to say I'm done going through people, but I paused it. Told me I didn't do anything. And I followed it up with, well, how did we get here? Why do you feel this way? Why do you, one, the amount of people denying, and I'm like, first of all, you should know if I'm going to ask you a question, there's going to be a cross-examination. I brought evidence. I'm going to bring these exhibits out. I'm not coming with feelings. I'm coming with facts. Because when I'm to this point, where I'm legitimately, especially if I believe that I've messed up, maybe I've researched this through and through. I'm coming through like Claire Huxtable, Matlock, and Perry Mason all wrapped up into one. Okay, with a little touch of Ally McBeal. You catch what I'm putting down? Okay. So yeah. Mm-hmm. My so-called circle of friends has been reduced to a dot. Okay, well, as long as I'm still in the dot, Nana J. Don't take me out the dot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But you gotta do that. Now I know today has been a little heavy. Full disclosure, Thursdays are probably going to be a little heavy because it is Think About Thursdays. And I cannot remember who, there were a couple people who messaged asking about the change. Let me explain the days that we have. No, I am not borrowing or copying off of Thomas. They weren't. I wish I could say that they were inspired by Thomas. I really do. But some of y'all don't realize that for quite a while, I have had a podcast. I have put the podcast on ice right now because I need to figure out, one, if I have the heart to continue to do it. Two, will I be revamping it again? And three, I know I don't want to do it 5 days a week. And what day do I want to do it? Because y'all know I am a fan of my friends' shows. And I don't really like missing their shows. I think they're awesome sauce. Uh, I know I'm a bit biased, but hey, so I don't want to be on the air and they're on the air because then I can't watch them. And I know some people are like, but Taz, what about them watching you? Like I said, I'm a fan of theirs. I fangirl. So when my podcast was 5 days a week, these were the days that happened. Now, Wisdom Wednesdays previously was just once a month. I did not want to keep it once a month. Even if I don't always have a guest, I want to bring some sort of wisdom, even if it's, playing audio clips of interviews of civil rights leaders or whatever, or, Holocaust survivors or whatever, or, information from astronauts that has been preserved, whatever it could be, like wisdom. So that's where it came from, and that's why I'm bringing it over here. But on the think about it part, yes, we will still get the news. But I will say this, and I credit my good friend and sister from another mister, Smoking Hot Mess Jess. She was explaining to me why she likes my content and how I don't just do the standard giving the news and how I break things down and how I talk about it. And I realized one thing that really does set me apart is that I'm not just sitting here rambling off headlines and news stories. Just like how I teach, I'm a conversationalist. I bring things through conversation and I like to tie them together. And I like to make them more real and more tangible to people, because we can find ourselves trying to protect our mentality, not taking things seriously or not understanding the gravity of it. But just like today in discussing things, I hope I've left you all with a better understanding of the current news. Whatever happens, we will need snack. I know, Inferno, and I'm working on it. Yeah. So, and I am trying to work on a way to increase the ad revenue on GCPR and fill us up for the whole day with stuff. In case you have not heard, GCPR app is available on iOS. You go to gcpr.live and you can get that working on the Android version. But yeah. Oh, thank you, DJ. I'm glad that y'all do. Yeah, because the podcast that I've had for quite a while is called Conversations with Taz. And I launched it when everybody was in lockdown. And it's, like I said, it's how I teach. Anybody who's ever taken a class from me, I'm very interactive. I'm not one of those, oh my God, I'm the teacher, you can't say anything. There have been so many times that my students of different age ranges, because I've done elementary up to grown adults that have careers that just want to continue their education and learning about history, that they've taught me things, and we've gotten into, just like we do here, we learn from one another. um but if you need, I get it, hard pressed button down news show, we do have the Kennedy Effect on Sundays. And Jeff Kennedy is a wonderful, wonderful resource. He's 7 years in the game, as far as his show, The Kennedy Effect. And yes, he is a Kennedy. Um, by the way, I thought you defended yourself quite well. Thank you. I had some fun with that. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of fun. Kind of took me back to being in the house with my brothers when they would pick with me, and I would just go ham. Or sometimes when my brothers would come and be like, cousin such and such said, followed by here's, maybe I shouldn't tell you this. For quite a while, I had this thing for corn pop cereal. It's like me and my mom's thing. If you notice, a lot of my snacking goes back to my mom. But I would eat it like chips. Like I wouldn't like put it in a bowl and like eat it like with milk and stuff. Chips and Twinkies. So people somebody needed me to verbally eviscerate someone, they would come with like a big like family size box of the corn pops, or because it's like in the early days of Walmart and Sam's Club, where like things were already in bigger bulk at Walmart, and then if you went to Sam's Club, you got a whole lot more. Would come with those. Like, here you go, like to hop me up on sugar. So I got good with it. Plus, my grandma, well, my granny and my grandma, would tell me, okay, well, full disclosure, as a minor, I had two grandmas and a granny. I know it's confusing. As an adult, four sets of grandparents. But we'll talk about that on another day. You know what? Maybe I'll put that over on Adventures with Taz, over on Patreon. So, shoot, I don't have my calendar in here. If somebody could later just shoot me a message to remind me to talk about my four sets of grandparents. But they always told me if I told the truth and I was ladylike with it, I could say whatever I wanted. I started reading the encyclopedias and spelling dictionaries. You'd be like, why spelling dictionaries? Because at the time, the way they would have things sliced out phonetically, it helped me with my English and pronunciation. Corn pops haven't been the same without the foil bag. You're right, they have not. When they stopped making the foil bag, I stopped eating corn pops. But corn pops for quite a while was my chip. They were my chips. Yeah, but just keep in mind, when I was like 14, 15, I looked like 9, 10 years old. And sometimes I would sit on the front porch, crisscross applesauce with like my books to write poetry or short stories or whatever. And I mean, big old family size box just going to town. And my mom had her own box because sometimes she would eat it right out the box. Sometimes she would make like a big, like mixing bowl of cereal and eat it. But just imagine like you walking down the street or driving down the street, and there's just a kid just randomly sit there. And for a while, I had a blue and white, a Tiffany blue and white, 10-speed bike with the little swirly cue handlebars, and I had this basket. And it was after my brothers had demolished my strawberry shortcake bike with the basket. because they would always demolish their stuff, and then I was forced to let them borrow mine, which was wrong. And there were times where you would catch me with either an open box of Twinkies in that basket or my basket of corn pops. I mean, my box of corn box pops in the basket, just chilling on my little personal Goonies adventure through the neighborhood. And the neighborhood was were two hoity-toity suburbs. Because I had that bike, I had two versions of it matching, one at my house and one at my granny and papa's house, both in very hoity-toity suburbs. Like where my granny lived, it was nothing that somebody would just come down the street riding a horse. And for a very long time, I thought that was regular. I thought that was normal. I found out it was not. I'm an adult that's still learning that a lot of things I thought was everybody did it. Everybody did not. In fact, everybody did not. Like I thought everybody had like half courts or full courts in their backyards, or like mini playgrounds with like full swing sets in like their grandparents' backyards. No. And I'm not saying like we had the most money. I'm learning that my family was just very creative, and they were some MacGyvers that they was gonna make a wheel and a way. Because I can't say if there was a wheel, there was a way. Because looking back and learning certain stuff, sometimes there wasn't no wheel, but they made a wheel and a way. Mm-hmm. Because, oh, mm-hmm. Hey, girl. Yes, I know, girly pop. I know. I gotta get like, I gotta get one of those cameras that I can clip onto my shirt. You know, I think I have an extra camera. I think it's corded though. I think it's wired. I don't think it's Bluetooth. That I think I have a hub over here that I think I could connect to maybe give y'all I gotta cook. I don't wanna. I am very lucky that I cooked the other day. I made a little pasta. Remember I told you I had a whole bunch of kebabs. I chopped up and ground up those kebabs, and put them in the sauce with some nice penne. And then we went out last night, and we all kind of filled ourselves up on accident on appetizers. But our waiter was so awesome. He actually let us sit with the appetizers for a while and really let us enjoy them. 10 out of 10. We'll do it again. So we have the majority of that in there. And then I forgot that I had got some taquitos and stuff. So we got a bunch of stuff that we can heat and serve. But I would like to like get a camera like so y'all can see my perspective of her when she's because it's so, but I have to find a way to be covert. She does not like being on camera. Like when I get her outside, it's because she's not paying attention that I've turned the camera on. Because I've tried to like be very still and like move the phone off the stand to try to get her. And she always senses it and runs off. As soon as I start talking about the camera, she ran out the room. I mean, cigarette, when in doubt. Look, I've made sandwiches before for dinner. I'm looking at 5 of mine. Yeah. Now, sorry, Tyra. Harley is innocent. Harley is innocent. Harley don't want to be on film. I'm surprised she let me get her on camera when I sat down. First of all, she was not happy about me saying, you know, if I die, kill my dog too. She didn't like that, but she was not feeling me sitting that close to her little bed. The little bed she sits on to watch TV. She was like, girl, I like you, but not that much. Absolutely not. I have 8 staffies. Oh. Yeah, she is quite the shy girl. But now yesterday when everything was happening, I had to go check the door. Oh, she was on it. She was for the shits yesterday. Okay, the way she came up, oh, oh, she was like RoboPup. Like she was ready to go. She was ready. She was mm-hmm mm-hmm. Baby, listen, baby, hey baby, hey baby. All right, now do not forget tomorrow is Fun News Friday. If you have not submitted your fun news over in the Discord, make sure you do that. If you're not in the Tazisms Discord, get with Harley, myself, or Smoking Hot Mess Jess, or Angry. I think Angry can end. Yeah. Um, we'll get you over there. Just make sure you put it over there, and remember, starting 30 minutes early. 30 minutes? Yes. Do you know you have 30 minutes? Over on the TikTok. It is an exclusive. We get together, we sing, play a little music, we dance a little bit. Um, so I'm not trying to exclude other people. It's just get a copyright hit over on YouTube. I am going to try to test it out. So I think we can go live in Discord. I'm gonna give it a try tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So we'll see. Keep in mind. Let's check your DMs. Okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Remember, it's a tester. I told y'all. Um, periodically throughout the spring and summer this year, we're gonna try out some different stuff. See what works. The husky will howl once in a while. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Shoot. A lot of DMs. Hold on, hold on. Thank you. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Okay, I will check when I get off of here. It's this my DMs keep updating. So every time I think I can click on something, it's doing that fluttering thing. Eating Reese's right now. Really? Really? I'm out of Reese's. Before y'all come at me, remember yesterday, the plan was to stop at the store because I need to get more Reese's pieces because I accidentally left chaos with, what did he call them? Reese's leavings. Um, but we were having such a good time, and it was, I'm not gonna say it was late. It was late for me to be out of the house. Um, and I was starting to get sleepy, and we had the itis, and I came home, so I gotta go. So that's cool. That's just so you know, that soon as we get done here, I'm gonna cry to Nana J about it. Yeah, because it's messed up. It's, that's cool though. Hey, Swords. Yeah, I hope y'all know that. Anybody watching? Just so you know, if you hurt my feelings, one, I come on here in the house and I tell all my lovely siblings. Number one, number two, I do immediately snitch to Nana, and then I snitch to my friend that I told y'all bites people. And for some reason, y'all keep thinking I'm joking about the fact that she bites people. I'm not joking, and I'm not exaggerating. She willfully, gleefully bites people. I need to get Reese's peanut butter cups and Reese's pieces. Because remember, I was supposed to make cookies with the last Reese's pieces I got, but we sat there eating it. because what is it? Oh, go to my page. Swords. Yeah, it's on there. So. Ooh, Mrs. Lodge, you're ordering some Monday. Ooh, thank you. Yes, I do need some. I only buy it if you ask. Lord have mercy, y'all so bad. All right. Okay, I think, are we done updating? And this is my bad. I did not plug this iPad in last night. I plugged it in right before the show started. So it's getting caught up with today. And I just opened, fully opened the app on this side. I think I opened it to watch a video of, oh, shoot, I didn't even finish watching the video that he made. Oh, babe. Nana said you better not ignore her. Look, I'm good at it, and I offer my services for free for family. I know, Swords. I know. See, people always go, you never want to hit people, Taz. No, because I got enough people that will hit people. All right. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. You all are amazing. And as Twin always says, be good or... What the hell? Trump removes tariffs on Scottish whiskey after King Charles visit. What the? Okay, as Twin says, be good or be good at. Lord have mercy. Now I will not. Okay, well, be good at it. Sword. You know what? It's just sensitive. That's all. Yeah, true. All right, y'all. Bye.
GCPR, radio shining bright. Coast Cop Production takes the light. GCPR, live in the air. Every voice is welcome here. Turn it now. Don't be shy. Let your spirit touch the sky.